자, 일로 오시고. 자, 음악에 맞춰. 자, 후렴 바로 나옵니다. 후렴 바로. 자, 준비. 리듬 타워.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 8th EBERSPÄCHER Luge World Cup. Broadcasting from here in PyeongChang, South Korea, side of the 2018 Olympic Winter Games. It's been 7 years since we've been back here. We've just experienced a fantastic first run. As we see, Merle Fabel currently in 3rd position, coming out of the very challenging corner 9, what some would call the signature curve for this track. Hannah Prock coming into 2nd place with Austria. That's a fantastic position to put herself in. And then our current leader, Lisa Schulte of Austria. Again, a great shot of her coming out of curve 9. My name's Mark Hatton. I've got Veronica Ravenna of Team Argentina with me. Welcome back, Veronica. That was a pretty stunning first run with a few surprises.
Yeah, it was amazing to see Hannah, in 2nd place, and by 15 thousandths of a second. I think she's going to make that up. I believe she can do that. And to see Julia Taubitz back in 10th place, and then 2 places behind her, Tova Koala from Sweden, into the top 12. That is amazing.
And so we see the air temperature still very warm.
You have no time to just make mistakes because it's just going to keep compounding. The start is quite a tricky, tight start. I wouldn't say tricky, but it's tight. You don't have a lot of time, and then you instantly drop, and the speed just comes to you right away.
So here we see, I think Felix. He's coming in from men's start here, but this gives us an idea. Take us down the track, Veronica.
Yeah, so here is where you kind of start to drop, and they're big corners, so you don't really feel it too much until you get to that 9, that chicane. Felix did it amazing. It didn't even look like it swerves, but it's not straight. It turns, it drops. It's really tricky. And then here in this last 15, uphill to 16 is another really tricky combination where you have to be spot on. You have to have that height from 15, which we saw pretty much the Korean athletes nail. Everyone else was a little bit low. I don't love to criticize while being far away because you never know how the track is built, but they need that height, and the Korean athletes showed us that with that height, you just get that straight line out of 15 into 16, and those little boosts, I say almost like Mario Kart when you go over the little arrows, that's what it is. You're looking for the little boosts in all the tracks.
I love that analogy, Veronica. As we see our start list for the second run, Yubin Shin of Korea just getting a second run there. That's great to see for the young athlete from South Korea. Anna Beretta, quite far back in the field. We said Tova Kahala in 12th place. That's wonderful for her. And Julia Taubitz back in 10th. She's given herself a bit of an uphill struggle for the overall, but at the same time, for Madeleine Egler to win the overall, she has to win today. And she is currently in 4th position, so she also has an uphill struggle to close it out today. As we see Team China working on the sled there, Nori Huber putting on a bit of diamond paste or some secret concoction that the Chinese team has found. I'm guessing it's diamond paste. Tell me about diamond pasting a steel. How does that make the sled feel different?
Yeah, so lots of athletes will tell you that diamond paste makes the sled skiddier. I want to say, for me, I think it's one of those myths. I think diamond paste just polishes up the steels. It makes it look nice and shiny, and it makes it look like a race. I don't know how well more to describe it than when your sled looks like it's race ready, you feel race ready.
Oh, I totally believe that. You know, some colors are fast colors. Red sleds are generally fast. I'm not sure that's scientifically proven. As we moved to our first competitor for run number 2, this is Yubin Shin of Korea, youth Olympian, who did so well here. I think came 10th or 11th in the Youth Olympics here, as she pulls off at the start to get us going for run number 2 of this EBERSPÄCHER Luge World Cup here from PyeongChang in South Korea. First time the athletes have been back here in 7 years, but some home field advantage for the Korean athletes.
Yeah, she had a really clean first run. I was super proud to see her. She's quite a young athlete. I mean, this is her home track, but she's dealing with the pressure of racing from home. And I mean, so far, I don't want to jinx it, but you can tell she knows what to do.
Absolutely, sticking the landing out of 9 there as we go into 13. A little flat across 13, that's not going to phase her. Nice entrance to 14, and a much better 14 than the run before, where she was a little bit loopy. And there we go, that 15 that the home team are just making it so easy. And as we've seen from athletes who have gone before,
no, she hit that Mario Kart boost in 15. That's gonna be the saying of the week. But she should be super proud with that run. It was, you know, there's not a lot I would have changed on it.
Yep, Yubin Shin of Korea, our leader after this very early stage. She's 1.5 seconds back off the pace after run number 1. So probably won't be troubling the podium, but she can be incredibly happy with her performance today, I think. I'm assuming her first World Cup, or one of her first World Cups, and what a great place to do it, in front of probably her parents, family, friends. Just such a great opportunity for these athletes as we move to our second athlete of this second run. This is PyeongChang of China.
Yeah, she's definitely going to be looking to move up a couple spots. We know the Chinese athletes have, you know, they've been doing really solid all season. I'm surprised to see them this low. I mean, it is a track that no one has a lot of experience on, so that can happen. But I know she's going to be fighting to move up the ladder.
Little skiddy up the top of the track. She's going to need to relax through these top curves, get the sled back online, but well into the green. She started off with about a 1.5 cushion, and that's built up significantly. So 1.5 hundredths. As we go to almost 0.5 of a second in the lead for Wang of China. A little early to 13, a little early to 14 as well, but gets her breath back with this long right-hander. And taking the low line round 15, but it works out quite nicely for her, crossing the finish line. We're going to have a new leader, ladies and gentlemen. It's PyeongChang of China, ahead by almost a second from Yubin Shin, and a great showing from the Chinese athletes as well.
Yeah, it was about 3 and a bit tenths faster than her first run, which is amazing. You love to see improvements between your first and second run.
Well, I'm hoping that the track is going to hold up a lot better than on the first run, and the ice looks harder at this point.
Yeah, it looks shiny. We always want that shiny ice. Shiny means fast.
It really does. And although night training always can flatter to deceive with those broadcast quality lights shining on the ice, but having had that intel of a drop in temperature, we're pretty hopeful that this track will be okay for these top 20 athletes in the world at the moment. As Elena Smaha of Ukraine gets us going, she's almost 0.2 ahead of the field. But Wang really put down a marker there, I think. She extended that lead significantly. Smaha in the lead at this early point.
Yeah, Wang, she had a really clean run, I think. I think they're going to be hunting each other down, and, you know, it's quite a big margin, 1.5 tenths, but in such a long track, it's so easy to lose that.
Yeah, let's see what 9 has to say about that. Good height in the entrance, but just catching that nub on the right-hand wall, dealing with it beautifully, but she's lost almost a tenth, so she is losing time down the track, a little skiddy through 13, as she goes straight into the red. In the bottom corner, you see the clock either goes red when you're behind or green when you're to the good. Just going very early to that uphill 16 point. I don't think she's going to overtake Wang, and she doesn't. Elena Smaha of Ukraine into second place, and PyeongChang of China climbing up a spot.
Yeah, and if you compare both the girls to our first Korean slider, they are quite a bit lower in 15. So it just goes to show how good that 15 was for our Korean athlete. But all three of the girls, I mean, they put down nice clean runs, a little taps here and there.
Yeah, I think Smaha's 9 there. She had height, but it was just too soon in the curve.
Yeah, I remember 9 is quite an uncomfortable feeling, and you have to steer it out, I want to say later than it feels physically right to do it. So it can be quite tricky to get the feeling in that corner and then to almost just give up control, because if you do anything too much in that straightaway, you just start skidding. I mean, not a straightaway because it's not straight.
Yeah, the bend away, straightaway. Hysun-young of Korea, where we debate the names for straightaways, and she's got a half of a second cushion over Wang at this point. But let's see as we come up to this next 104 split, if she can make it a 103 split, and she does. Still half a second to the good is Young of Korea. She rounds corner 8.
And through 9, nice.
That looked like a home track line right there. Timing, cool, collected, very, very calm. As she comes round 14, nice line round 14. Now let's see if we see another classic Korean curve 15. And we do. Straight up, straight down, straight line into 16, up the hill, crossing the finish line. And we have a new leader keeping that half a second cushion, 400ths and change. That is Hysun-young of Korea into first place.
She's definitely hunting down her, I think, career best finish, you know, to be racing in the home track. That's just when you push, when you want that best result. You want to peak, you know how to slide this track. And that's just what she did.
Yeah, that was an incredibly comfortable run. From Hysun-young, who's been in the sport so long. She was here in 2018. She didn't make the Olympics. She was injured at that point. She was a forerunner, but she may have still been coming back from injury. But Hysun-young, the most experienced member of this Korean team, and can be very proud of that performance. As we move back to the athlete that started us off earlier today, this is Corina Buzătoaie of Romania.
I love to see her in a second run. She is a powerhouse of an athlete. You know, she's one of those athletes that, like Tova, will just risk it, and she'll either come out with a beautiful, super fast run or not, but she's not willing to settle for just a mediocre run. She pushes her head back, she pushes her angles down to give her more speed. And she's not afraid of the track. She will do what it takes.
Well, as you talk about pushing the position very early to 9 there, but getting away with it. But yeah, Buzătoaie, I think, really pushing the position here. And as we know, position can save you from a lot of problems that you create on the track, can't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, you know, you want your center of gravity as far down as possible. That's why we see the girls' doubles sometimes flip a lot more.
And we have a new leader. That's Corina Buzătoaie, ahead by a quarter of a second, ahead of Young of Korea. 1:34.704 combined time for Buzătoaie, and looking very happy with that performance, as she should do. Kept her finishing position from the first run, and looking to move up a few spots now. As we see, she fixed that early entrance to 9 very well, I felt. She just bumped on a little soon, but kept her cool. Still managed to get a little bit of late height, which gave her a straightish shot to 11.
Yeah, I feel like she should be super happy with that run. She'll do no worse than 16th, which is an amazing result in a track that she's never been before.
Yeah, she's had 9 training runs and 1 race run. So we're up to 11 runs now in her portfolio for the PyeongChang track.
And now Juliana She is another one of those athletes. She's going to kill it at the start. I just know she will.
Juliana Tunitska, again, someone that is not a stranger to the top step of the podium, even though in the junior ranks. Former junior world champion Tunitska, and such an impressive. I saw Juliana race in Junior World Cup in Whistler, and just a very, very confident, really impressed with her sliding and her step up into the senior ranks.
And I'd love to say she's also such a happy slider. She's always smiling, which is so nice and so refreshing to see sometimes.
Well, it's scientifically proven you get an extra, I think, half a tenth with a smile on your face as Tunitska rounds corner 14 into 15. Nice early height. That's one of the better non-Korean corner 15s we've seen from Tunitska. Into second place. Uzatoy climbing up a spot, and Tunitska back by 11 hundredths of a second.
Yeah, that was a really nice run by Tunitska. I'm not so sure where the time went, but I think Karina's run, like we said, she really pushed back and she just relaxed.
Well, and this is it's interesting when you speak to people that don't understand the sport. They say, what are the attributes of the sport? And you say, it's a relaxation sport. And that, I find, blows people's minds, to be going at that speed, and relaxation being such a huge part of it.
Yeah, you really learn to just try to mellow your entire body out. It takes time. It takes time to learn.
So, Verena Hoffer of Italy with a 700th of a second lead over the competition. Let's see if she can make that multiply down the track as she pulls a little bit to the left wall, but not a bad start at all. You have to do that a little bit into this first women's start curve. Slowly building by a couple of thousandths to 800ths of a second into the lead, and still in the green over Buzatoy is Verena Hoffer of Italy.
She looks a little uncomfortable. I'm not quite sure. She's correcting most of her entrances and exits, which is uncharacteristic for her.
Hoffer putting down a nice exit 9 there. A little bit of a spray going into 12, though, as we see her go flat across 13. This shouldn't cost her too much. We should hopefully be looking at a new leader, but we are dropping time here. Let's see. Yes, she's doubled that advantage to almost 2/10 of a second. We're going to see Verena Hoffer across the finish line into the lead, just building time down the track into first place by 3.5 of a second. That is Verena Hoffer of Italy, our new leader.
She found so much time in the bottom of the track, which is not an easy thing to do because, we're going uphill, and usually it's kind of like a rolling ball. You don't catch speed on the uphill, but she found it.
Yeah, she really did. I think this track rewards you, what you can carry from those top curves. If you can just get it through 9, you get that reward in that tricky uphill section. It's a strange track like that, but it can give you advantages through the bottom curves for sure. As we come to Nina Zergler, who is 400ths ahead of the competition. Our next athlete to go, Nina Zergler of Italy, a qualifier from Nations Cup.
I love to see the qualifiers for Nations Cup just fighting there with the seeded group. It's super nice to see that they're not far behind, and we have Hannah Prock in second place, and she also came from the seeded group, from the Nations Cup qualifier.
So that advantage has dropped to 19 thousandths of a second. Yeah, I agree. I love to see the qualifiers come in and really throw down and get results, because it's just good to see sometimes the less experienced, less funded athletes come down and do something really special on these tracks. As Nina Zergler puts down a good 9, little skiddy into 11, but nothing too bad there. Looking solid, but losing time through this bottom section of the track. She's going to have to do something special through 15.
Yeah, her teammate found the speed there, so we'll see. Either she has that same line or she'll just fall a little bit further behind.
And as expected, Nina Zergler just dropping 1 spot into second place behind her teammate Verena Hoffer, a quarter of a second back there for Zergler.
And it was really nice. We saw Sandra there in the leader's box with Verena, so we know she's good, she's healthy. Hopefully it was just one of those flips that kind of catches you off guard.
Yeah, hopefully it looked worse than it was, as we see Zergler really working here to keep it off that right wall, but just showing immense feeling on the sled not to do too much there.
Yeah, you can see her also pushing back in that bend away.
Nina Zergler celebrating her, I think, 24th birthday in Whistler last week on the night of the opening ceremony. So happy birthday to Nina Zergler for last week as we move back up to the women's start. And somebody who's impressed you, Veronica, and me, Tova Kahala.
Tova has just been crushing it this season. I'm so proud to see her in the top 12. She's in a contender for Globe for the overall in Nations Cup as well, which is huge. I'm loving this season for her.
So Tova Kahala still in the green here, so more of the same from Kahala. Let's see how she goes in this 1:15 split. Just the sled wanted to break away on the exit there, but she managed to maintain her speed. She's just 500ths ahead at this point. This 27 split is going to be key. Little loopy in 14 and early to 15. She needs to find something here. She's back by 12 thousandths of a second, so we need a stellar curve 16. Can she keep her lead back by a 1/10 of a second in the end, dropping one spot, Tova Kahala, but that puts her into, I think, 13th place at worst, and she can't be too unhappy with that result for Sweden's Tova Kahala.
Yeah, and you can see the smile on her face. I think her career best happened this year in Oberhof, and it was a 12th. So now, honestly, being 13th in a track she's never been at before, she should be pretty happy.
Definitely, and it was a solid run again. I mean, little loopy there, you can see her just trying to hold under with the sled, but I feel Tova Kahala just pushing the position the whole way down the track.
Yeah, now she's going to get ready to race. I don't know if it'll be with her brother or her other teammate, but she's going to be racing again in the mixed singles in just a couple hours, so it's going to have to do it all over again.
It's a busy day. So, Anna Bertha of Germany, our first German of this second run. Germans, with the exception of Merle Freiberg, characteristically not close to the front of the pack here.
Yeah, they had their two athletes who won medals here in the Olympics are unfortunately not racing in singles and not racing at all anymore, so they have a fresh crowd, let's call it.
Absolutely. Beretta, interesting line into the start curve there. Very close to the right wall, but getting away with it. And maybe actually finding a little speed from that, because she's in the green right now as she just inch perfectly threads the needle down the Dragon's Tail, but a little high on the exit and getting thrown up a bit into 13, but handling the height really well, Beretta. We go to 15. Nice exit from 15, almost Korean in standard, I would say. Very, very good exit from 15 there for Beretta, and a great run into the lead, ahead of Verena Hoffer by almost half a second for Anna Beretta.
Yeah, Anna knows how to find the time in the second run if she wasn't stoked on her first run, so I'm really happy to see a run from Anna that was pretty darn stellar.
She looked really comfortable there, didn't she? And that exit 9, I hope we get to see it again. You know, really keeping her cool there, just not being afraid to just skim that right wall. And really nice run from Anna Beretta there for Germany.
Yeah, and that's a pretty nice lead. And thank you, Robert Fegg. Turns out the dress is called a drindle. Sorry if I butchered that pronunciation, but her sled is absolutely beautiful.
A drindle. Well, I've learned something today as well. This is wonderful. Julia Taubitz of Germany, currently sitting in 10th place, so we're halfway through this top 20. Taubitz having to really do something here to keep her challenge for the World Cup title alive next week in Beijing.
Yeah, she's wearing that world champion bib. She won the race last week, so I'm very surprised to see her in 10th place, but I have faith. I know this is a girl who will just pull through run after run.
And really pushing it here, Julia Taubitz. See, just very close to that right wall, just gets bumped late, but manages to keep the sled on track, and the numbers in the green, more importantly, as Taubitz comes into 14. This 126 split is going to be crucial. A little early to 15. Sends her towards the right wall, having to push it across in that uphill section. Talbot's crossing the finish line into the lead by almost 0.4 of a second. That's Julia Talbot's ahead of her country mate Anna Beretta. Julia Talbot's, ladies and gentlemen, your new leader. Well, she needed to put something down, and she did.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see how many spots if she moves up. That was it was a classic Julia run. It was good, it was clean. She looked comfortable.
Getting to grips with 9, hey?
Yeah, 9 is really tricky. Just that little tap, and because it goes downhill, it just sends her out the way.
Yeah, well, as we know on this track, it rewards consistency, but also incredibly fine margins. The words of Al Pacino, winning is a game of inches. I think on this track, that right wall is a game of millimeters. We should probably move into metric in this European-centric sport. As we move to Melina Fischer of Germany, currently filling in 9th place.
I feel like it's important to also say she's currently sitting as the second German, which is pretty big because most of the countries will be racing themselves in this race because of the mixed singles coming up next. And there's only 2 teams per country, so in a country with 4 athletes like Germany, you want to be in that top 2 to get an opportunity to race in the race this afternoon.
Absolutely, and Talbot's looking like she might climb up a spot here. Melina Fischer back by 0.08 of a second into 13. Nice line through 13 though. Early height, long exit to 14. As we see her get her composure back in 14, but not a great 15, having to really work to get it across to 16. Talbot's is going to climb up 1 more spot into 9th place. That's exactly where she wanted to be at minimum. Should, well, as the numbers work here, ladies and gentlemen, Madeleine Egler, if she wins today, she secures the title if Julia Talbot comes 9th or worse. So to really get a cushion and make sure, Julia Talbot needs to climb up 1 more spot from where she's currently sitting in 9th place.
Yeah, I mean, that was a nice run by Melina. I'm proud of her. She's one of the younger athletes. Let's see her smile at the end. She's always happy as well. Oh, she's just great to see at the end of a run.
And you've got to say, you know, even though she's German, 10 runs on a track is 10 runs on a track to any one of these athletes, isn't it? It's not a lot of time on track.
It's not, and it's a lot of corners. They're tricky corners, so she killed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Props to Melina Fischer there of Germany. Great run for her. As we move to our Austrian contingent and Barbara Allmeyer. Austria having such a great season. Great. The sleds are running. Their athletes are in great shape. Wolfie Kindle yesterday making history by winning 2 golds in a weekend in doubles and singles, only the 4th man in history to do that. As Barbara Allmeyer threads the needle with 9, but she's also playing catch up on Julia Talbot. Well, we said Talbot's had to put something special down. It looks like she did, even with that slightly less than optimal curve 9. Allmeyer just touching the right wall there, going uphill and crossing the finish line into 2nd place, ahead of Melina Fischer, but behind Julia Talbot's, and back from Talbot's by just about 1.5 hundredths.
So Talbot's is she's safe, even if Madeleine wins the overall. It's still going to be a fight to the last race for the
battle for the globe. Goes into the final race of this season, which is always great to see. You know, it's a. You know, I think when a country gets a World Cup final, it's always a shame for it to be already decided when it gets there. So it's going to be a nail-biter next week, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you'll be tuning into the FIL channel here on YouTube, or however you choose to watch your luge these days. As we move to the women's start again with Ashley Farquharson of Team USA, the sparsely populated Team USA for this 8th EBERSPÄCHER Luge World Cup here in PyeongChang. USA bring a very small team.
Yeah, they just have 1 full team relay, I believe. It's the last couple races of the season. I mean, I would have loved to see them all, but we understand.
We understand indeed as Farquharson gets going, and she's a quarter of a second in the lead over Talbots at this point, so that's a decent-sized cushion she has ahead of Talbots.
She's an athlete who, in my eyes, she just looks comfortable. Most runs, she's just kind of vibing her way down, and you can see it in her results. Nice straight line.
That lead is dropping. She's only got 1.5 tenths to play with here as she goes into 14. I would absolutely agree about her style. She's so economical with her drives. It looks like she's not doing much on the set. Her timing, I love watching. And into first place, Ashley Farquharson of Team USA. Talbots into second. Farquharson, ladies and gentlemen, is your new leader with 6 athletes left to go.
Yeah, that was a nice clean run from Ashley. As you can see, she lets the sled go, which is not something that's really easy to do. We're, as athletes, we're quite controlling, I want to say. We want to put the sled where we want it, but that just means we're cut nice. As you can see, she just lets it go. She trusts her exits. She knows what she's doing.
Well, I think as well on a new track, the temptation is to overdrive to keep yourself safe, and it's great to see these top athletes just letting the sled fly. As we come to Latvia's Kendia Apioda, 6 athletes left to go, ladies and gentlemen, so we're into the provisional small podium. Kendia Apioda currently sitting in 6th place. Started off with a 46.638 and back by 7 thousandths of a second in the start.
Yeah, that's when you're playing with small margins, it can go away pretty quickly. So we'll see in the next split. She's falling slightly behind, which is probably from the slower start.
Oh, Apioda chasing down Farquharson here, and chase her down she does as she moves into the green. A little skiddy out of 9, but getting away with it. Only 3 thousandths of a second in this. As we go to 13 and 14, still in the green, but this 126 split is going to be crucial. Building that lead, we're up to 300ths of a second. We should have a new leader, and we do, keeping that almost 400ths of a second lead. Ashley Farquharson into second place. Kendia Apioda looking incredibly happy to be your new leader.
Yeah, I mean, she's such a strong athlete, and I know she's just chasing those top podiums. She wants a podium this season. I'm not sure if it'll happen this race. There's still quite a few sleds left to go, but I love that she was proud of that run. It was a good run.
Yeah, really was. Carried speed well, and not many small mistakes. You know, this track, I feel it punishes very small mistakes.
Yeah,
punishment doesn't always fit the crime.
Absolutely, especially 9, 10, 11. That one little wall tap can send you all over the place, but Kendia's run, it was solid.
Absolutely, and talking of incredibly fine margins, just 12 thousandths of a second Marg has on her lead here in 5th place. Natalie Marg of Switzerland building on that lead, though, with that big start. Looks like a better start than on her first run.
Yeah, I wonder if that was what the boys were talking about in the leader's box after her first run. Maybe she pulled a little bit crooked and it wasn't a stereotypical strong Natalie start.
Yeah, just a little loopy in 7 there, but keeping her composure. Now here's the crucial part into 9. Beautiful line from 9 to 11, and we still have that lead of almost 700ths of a second.
She's absolutely solid in this run, which is very typical for Natalie. She's such an amazing slider. She knows what she's doing, knows how to let the sled go, and
the lead drops. It dropped to 200ths, and then it dropped to 17 thousandths of a second. Natalie Marg drops a spot into 6th place.
I'm surprised. I was ready to celebrate her green finish.
Yeah, it was, and 15 looked good. She didn't bump on early, but she lost speed from around this point, actually. 14 it looked like on the splits. went down from, I think, 400ths to just a few thousandths. And fine margins that we spoke about at the top of the track and the bottom of the track, 17 thousandths of a second in it. So the world leader, the great Madeleine Egler of Austria, having had just a wonderful season. I mean, 4 top podiums in first place this season, in Innsbruck, in Oberhof, in Altenburg, and in Oberhof World Cup number 2. Madeleine Egler into the lead straight away off the start, ahead of Candia Apioda, but she's got to keep it all the way down the track.
Yeah, I wanted to say she is one of the, if not the strongest starter in the circuit. She has countless start records, so I'm not surprised.
Working hard there out of 9, but managing to stick it.
Yeah, she had to do a few corrections, but they almost looked like they came instinctively, which is really nice to see.
Okay, 15, a little bit of direction to the right, but reacts soon enough to bring it across to 16 as she crosses the finish line into 4th place.
Wow. You see, she kind of put her feet down a little bit out of 15 and out of 16. I wonder if they're going to replay that, but when you're going uphill, those little taps.
Absolutely. Madeleine Egler, uncharacteristically into 4th place, was leading the whole way down the track. And hopefully we'll see something that we may have missed of full speed in curve 16. I'll admit I was watching the clock at that point as opposed to the athlete. But was a good, solid run all the way down. This is her transition to 13 where she bumped on a little early. But a lot of the athletes have done that. But that has really turned next week's race in Beijing, which we will be broadcasting, into one, ladies and gentlemen, that you just cannot miss. This is going to be a battle for the ages between Taubitz and Egler next week in Beijing.
And so that means that Kendia will do... Oh, I spoke too soon. I was going to say no worse than 3rd place, but no, there's 3 sleds left to go. She's going to want to move up 1 more spot.
Absolutely. So Merle Frebel in bronze medal position after the first run. Let's see if she can keep that to climb up onto the podium for Team Germany. As Merle Frebel rounds into curve 9, let's see how she tames the Dragon's Tail, and she does, inch perfect to that right wall. But only a lead of about 1/10 of a second.
But I believe Merle is one of those athletes that finds the time in the bottom corners.
It's dropping. That lead has now dropped to 0.08 of a second.
Gonna be tight. And she does it.
Drops some more. But Merle Frebel into the lead for Team Germany, guarantees herself a bronze medal. Congratulations, Merle Frebel of Germany, ahead by 0.04 of a second, but she looks incredibly happy with that, as she should, Veronica.
She looks relieved. Which, I mean, to be fully honest, in my track lines at the end of this track, I have celebrate. It's a track that you have to try to do nothing, but at the same time do a lot. So when you make it clean up that finish, you celebrate, you relax.
And here's a surprise. Not a huge surprise, because we know Hannah Prock is a class act, but from the Nations Cup, qualifying, winning the Nations Cup, and now finding herself in silver medal position.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, she's in the Nations Cup because Nations Cup is selected by the ranking of the last 3 races. And unfortunately, she wasn't at all of our races due to an injury. So traditionally, I think she would have been in the seeded group for this race for sure.
So Hannah Prock still in the green, but only by 21/1000 of a second. So Prock having to do something special now to maintain this lead, just dabbing a foot as she goes into 9, but getting a lovely exit, lovely straight shot. She's doing everything she needs to do now, just 12/1000 of a second in it.
Yeah, I mean, she found the speed in the bottom section in her last run, but she's quite a bit slower than the rest, so it's...
0.09 of a second in it as we make it round. It's all going to hang on curve 16, crossing the finish line, 0.04 of a second. Into second place, Hannah Prock, which means Merle Frebel is guaranteed a silver medal.
And Hannah is guaranteed her first medal of the year. I mean, apart from Nations Cup medal. And you see Madeline celebrating her. She had a pretty bad injury that she had to rehab from the whole first half of the season. So to see her back and to see her, you know,
Absolutely.
back being Hannah, this is the Hannah that we know.
Wonderful sliding there from Hannah Prock. Instinct, guts, the whole lot. Great sliding from Prock. And, you know, silver medal. I mean, a bronze medal. Just a wonderful performance from Team Austria.
And a run into the mixed singles event as well.
So Lisa Schulter, next to go, our leader.
Lisa won the World Championships not this year, but the year before. So we know that she knows how to hang with the top.
She's young, but she has wisdom beyond her years on a sled, it seems. And look at her really pushing that position. She is leaving it all out on the track.
It looks like she's enjoying the run. Like, it doesn't, I know you can't see too well, but she doesn't look panicked. She doesn't look like she's fighting it. She's having fun with it.
Building that lead. 1.8 tenths there, still in the green. This is turning into a great run from Lisa Schulter. She's building that lead even more. She's got a quarter of a second without too much trouble, crossing the finish line. Almost a third of a second to the good. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner of this World Cup here in PyeongChang, representing Austria, Lisa Schulter.
And her first win of the season. That's amazing. Let's see her smile. There we go. Well deserved. That was 2 amazing runs.
That was incredible. So not a huge cushion, only 15 thousandths of a second going into this second run, but just building speed the whole way down the track and just keeping her cool here past that tricky corner 10. And just a great run from Lisa, huh?
Yeah, and I think, you know, I noticed it more this run than the last run. She looked like she was having fun. She looked like she was enjoying the sliding. And that's sometimes all it takes, you know. You're not nervous, you're not stressed. Even in the top position, you know you have to put a clean run in order to stay there. But
so, Schulter, Frebel, and Prock, your top 3. Austria, Germany, Austria was Apioda in 4th, just missing out on the medals. Coaches look happy.
Yeah, they're stoked. I love this for them. You know, they did the work. They did the work and it paid off.
So there we go. We've already said your top 3. Schulter, Frebel, Prock. Apioda in 4th, Natalie Marg in 5th, and Ashley Farquharson of the USA in 6th, Madeline Egler and Julia Talbot 7th and 8th. That makes next week so crucial. And Almayer and Fischer in 9th and 10th. Berta in 11th, Verena Hoffer in 12th, Tove Kahala of Sweden in 13th, Nina Zergler in 14th, Karina Buzatoy in 15th. Wow, what a race.
That was an amazing race. I'm stoked for Lisa, but also stoked for Romania. That was such a great result, 15th place, having never been here before. And you see the girls, they're all happy. You know they're going to be celebrating. Look at those adorable little plushes.
Ines Figelis, the president of the International Luge Federation, handing out the plushies and hopefully the flowers as well. See our winners circle there. Lisa Schulter on top spot. Mara Frebel in 2nd place. And taking home her 2nd medal of the weekend, having won a gold in Nations Cup. Now, a slightly more valuable World Cup bronze for Hannah Prock. But, ladies and gentlemen, the day belongs very much to Lisa Schulter of Austria.
They're 3 super happy girls. Lisa did such an outstanding job. She well deserved this gold medal.
Well, if that's whetted your appetite, ladies and gentlemen, for some more luge, you're not going to be disappointed, because we're going to be coming back in approximately 25 minutes with mixed doubles. There we see the points, 590 points for Egler, Schulte in second with 570, and Taubitz in third place overall with 557. This is anybody's overall race, Veronica.
It's going to be a tight race in China, and if we remember anything from the Olympics, both Madeline and Taubitz had issues there in the Olympics, which would have been the last runs they had there. So they're gonna both need to clean it up and put down the best run they can do.
Yeah, absolutely. As we said earlier, this track rewards consistency. Let's see the top three here, because this was just a fabulous race. As we see Hannah Prock coming out of 9 into the Dragon's Tail, just pushing it 100%. I mean, such great position on the sled from Prock there.
Yeah, and here Merle, she's just trusting herself and none other than Lisa. She had a killer run, got close to that wall, but didn't do anything about it. She let it happen because she knew she was safe.
I mean, that was really a wonderful race for so many of the athletes, but the top three, I mean, just all raced their own race and raced it so well. And you see what it means to them. Such a great
Hannah,
close Austrian
congratulations
team
back
here.
on the podium after quite a while for you. How does it feel to be back?
Yeah, it feels amazing. I had so much fun this week, and I'm happy that I could put down 2 clean runs today, and I'm super happy.
So Hannah Prock happy with those couple of clean runs there, as she should be. Will be disappointed not to have gone home with a silver, I'm sure, but because it was incredibly fine margins. I think
congratulations on making the podium here. How does it feel? How was your race?
First, I started with my training. My training was, I think from the first run, I have really good lines here, but I was not fast. And I don't know where it comes now, but today it was faster. My times was much more faster, and now I'm on the podium, and I can't be happier. And Lisa got her first World Cup win today, so I'm really proud of her. And I'm totally happy. Thank you.
And great sportsmanship there from Merle Frabel, congratulating our eventual winner, Lisa Schulte of Austria, but Merle Frabel racing a wonderful race there as well.
Lisa, congratulations. What a race here for you. First time for you here and the first World Cup win. How do you feel?
I feel awesome. It's just great. It was an awesome race. It was really close out of 9 2 times, but I've had a great training and I felt really, really good here on the track, so I'm just happy that I finally made it on top of the podium. Thank you.
So there we have it. Very, very happy and contented Lisa Schulte, getting her first World Cup victory. Wonderful racing from all the athletes today, and as I said, there is more coming up. We're going to be having the mixed competition, which, if you haven't seen it yet, ladies and gentlemen, it is just a fantastic, fantastic addition to our sport. It's fast, it's furious, it takes in the unpredictability of the team relay, and you'd be a real shame for you to miss it. That's going to be coming up very shortly at around 8 o'clock local time, 8:10, here in Korea. As we see some of the highlights of the day. Happy coaches, happy Germans, and I thought the Koreans had a wonderful day as well, really showed us how to drive this track well. It's just been a wonderful weekend, and we've got more of the same. So next up is going to be the mixed doubles. Mixed doubles, both going from the same start, obviously, and then we go into the mixed singles, where we will see the men go from the men's start, cross the finish line, hit the touchpad, open the gate for the female athlete from women's start. It's a fantastic addition, like I said, to watch, and we'll be coming up with that very shortly. So just confirming the time, coming up at the local time of 8:10 p.m. That is our mixed doubles. So we'll be looking forward to seeing you then. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back. I've been Mark Hatton. I've had Veronica Ravenna with me today for this women's race, and she'll be back to join us.
Du bist das erste Mal auf dieser Bahn hier und hast jetzt auch gleich deinen ersten Weltcupsieg eingefahren. Wie geht's dir nach dem Rennen?
Ja, danke, mega. Also es ist echt cool, es war richtig cool.